Good morning, beautiful people. I'm here in Yonkers, New York. I have an inspection in one of my properties. I'm going to put up a video on my stock channel as well later. A lot of people have asked me, Adam, how do you make passive income? How are you semi-retired? One of the ways is real estate. But before I go up, right now it's like 7:30, and I want to make a video about Palantir. And this is going to be a broader picture about one of Palantir's co-founders, Peter Thiel. And I find it so funny that a lot of people laugh about Palantir and the investment of Palantir without understanding the roots of Palantir, where it came from, how it was funded, and who was the founder of Palantir. So a lot of people hear the word Peter Thiel or hear the name Peter Thiel, but very few people actually understand who this guy is or what he has done. So in this video, I want to connect the dots for you guys. And I wanted to specifically talk to the people that hate on Palantir and really think that Palantir is just some goofy company that doesn't do anything, which boggles my mind that you would bet against a guy like Peter Thiel. It boggles my absolute mind. And a lot of people also, and I know Stanley Druckenmiller actually reduced his shares in Palantir recently, but he was one of the largest outside investors of Palantir, in the early stages, that a lot of these goofballs who laugh about Palantir absolutely adore Stanley, but don't even understand that Stanley was one of the original investors. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Look, Peter Thiel is a guy from humble beginnings. And Peter Thiel has a theory, a thought, that you got to make your own market. So either you got to do stuff so much better than your competition that you take over the market, or you got to build a market that doesn't exist. And one way to build a market that doesn't exist is to take a very small market that essentially nobody's looking at and expand that market. And he gives an example of Elon Musk and Tesla, how he started in a market of electric sports cars, and now it's this huge energy company that keeps growing, so on and so forth. So that's an example that he gives. And if you understand that, then you understand where Palantir is. And this is why I'm more bullish than ever. And actually, I hate saying this, if the shares of price of Palantir goes sub $10, I will probably start adding to my position. So if you understand where Peter Thiel is coming from, let me explain to you who this guy is exactly. Peter Thiel was not one of the founders of PayPal. Nobody really was. PayPal was a company that merged with Elon Musk's company, and it's called ex-PayPal. Elon Musk was the CEO of ex-PayPal, and then they fired Elon Musk. Peter Thiel became the CEO of ex-PayPal, which was then later rebranded as PayPal. But for all intents and purposes, he's one of the founders of PayPal, or the companies that became PayPal. Before PayPal went public, he has a Roth IRA. Remember when I tell you guys about a Roth IRA, that the income you generated from a Roth IRA is tax-free? But you guys don't listen. Very few of you guys listen. By the way, if you want a Roth IRA, I have a link down below to Robinhood. They're giving you a 3% match. And I have full videos on this if you guys want to learn about actually real wealth building secrets that rich people do. In any case, so he took $1,700. He bought PayPal at a 0.001 or 1 cent a share, and he bought it in his Roth IRA. When PayPal sold, that $1,700 ended up being worth $5 billion tax-free. Let me explain to you again. $1,700 became $5 billion tax-free. And the way PayPal came out is, he says, listen, there was a market. We wanted to create a brand new currency, but we didn't succeed. But we created a brand new payment system using the internet for payment. And at the time, this was crazy. So he's like, at the time in eBay, we took 30% of eBay's market share, I think he said 6 months or 8 months. And he said the way we did it is because people are sending checks for eBay, but we're clearing it essentially instantly, a few days, but checks were clearing, it took like 7 to 10 days. So that's how they took market share. That's how they grew. After PayPal, he was the first investor, a seed investor for Facebook. He valued them at $4.9 million. He gave them a 10.2% share at $500,000 and a board seat. That $500,000 became like $10 billion in the future. It's absolutely freaking crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This guy absolutely killed it. He's the first outside investor for SpaceX. He's an investor in Tesla. He's an investor in OpenAI. He's an investor in Stripe and many other companies. He's, you know, they talk about PayPal Mafia, and Elon Musk is the greatest CEO that we've ever seen and the greatest CEO coming out of the PayPal Mafia. PayPal Mafia made many companies like YouTube and SpaceX, Tesla, and many other companies. But Peter Thiel is probably the greatest investor we've ever seen. And he's a better investor than Warren Buffett. He's a better investor than Stanley. His returns are ridiculous. But most people don't know this. And I stick to that claim, and I'll put those numbers up against anybody. Peter Thiel does not actually lose. He wins. And if you understand his point of view and you understand how he invests and his contrarian theory, so he says, listen, you have to come up with an idea that you know is true but nobody believes you, or an answer to a question that you believe is true but nobody believes you. And this is exactly what he's doing with Palantir. That's my belief. Now, in the history of defense in the last 50 years, there has not been more than 2 companies that were considered to be unicorns that are in the defense sector. Those 2 companies are Palantir and SpaceX. A unicorn is a company worth more than $1 billion. Why? There's essentially a DoD prime, and it's extremely difficult to get into work with the DoD, Department of Defense, the military, unless you're a prime. Small consulting firms, they don't get big. Nobody wants to invest in small consulting firms. That's also why Palantir started something called FedStart. If you're a small consulting company and you don't have the time, money, resources, patience, or all of the above to get IL5 and soon to be IL6 clearance, impact level 5, impact level 6 clearance, well, then you cannot work with the government. If you're a startup, nobody wants to invest in you. If your whole shtick is you got to work with the government, but you can't get in there. So instead of spending millions of dollars and wasting years, Palantir is essentially your military auditor, and they're letting you use their connections to get into the military. They actually signed up publicly their second company. It's actually a large language model, or some people are saying competitor to Palantir, but at the end of the day, this was the whole point of it, to be able to breed and get companies in to work with the military for more innovation. If you understand where Peter Thiel started, how he thinks, what he's trying to do, and he has a very particular thinking when it comes to the government, how the government is broken and we need to work with the government to make it better, and how science and mathematics and innovation is dead in the United States, that we're not really innovating and we need to innovate, then you understand where this is going. Peter Thiel spoke about artificial intelligence like 10 years ago, before it was cool, before anybody even knew about artificial intelligence. And he was saying, hey, artificial intelligence is not here yet. When we get artificial intelligence, he says, think about it like an alien, extraterrestrial. If the extraterrestrial comes to Earth, you're not going to be asking them about economics. You're going to ask them political. Are you safe? Are you with us? Are you friendly? Well, that's what you should be asking artificial intelligence. He says if you really have AI that's as smart as a human, you got to see if they're going to be friendly or not if they're going to be taking jobs away or not. And in this context, you can understand what Palantir is, what they're building, and why they always say we're here to complement, not to decimate. We're not here to take away the human element. We're here to complement the human element, which cannot be said for all companies, which is absolutely insane. So I am talking to the haters in this video, and y'all know who you are. I'm almost positive you guys don't know who Peter Thiel is, or you heard the name but don't really know who he is, right? You heard of him, but you don't know who he is. And I'm sure you never heard of him talk. I'm sure you never read his book. And a lot of people, shout out to my man Nate, asked me, hey Adam, can you make a video about the Thiel effect? So this is the first part of it. I'm in the car. I really wanted to get this off my chest. Peter Thiel does not lose. He's the greatest investor of our time, or definitely top 3. But I'll put an argument that he's the greatest investor. Peter Lynch, Warren Buffett, Stanley, all these people get the Ray Dalio, Bill Ackman, all these people get credit, but actually Peter Thiel's returns are by far better. It's absolutely insane if you think about it. And he has a very specific way to invest. And he says both me and Elon for SpaceX, we had to put our own money down because nobody would invest in our companies until you start getting known. And then you start taking market share. Palantir right now is at $14, I believe, last time I checked. It had a really bad day yesterday, and that's okay because, as I said, as soon as I learn how to sell covered calls, I make money in green days, I make money in red days, and obviously I wanted green, but it doesn't really matter as much. Selling covered calls allows me to be a much better long-term investor. Everybody says a long-term investor, but when the market's red, it sucks. You're crying. It really sucks, and it makes you look at your screen all the time. When I started selling covered calls, I stopped looking at my screen as much because I don't care. I make money. Good markets, bad markets, I'm making money every single week. Matter of fact, I'm about to sell a covered call today, right after Jerome Powell speaks, which I'm going to share with my channel members for $3 a month. And I will show you that you don't have to sell weekly covered calls. You can actually sell a half a day covered call, which is what I'm going to do today, and make money. I'll also probably buy a cash secured put, but that's a whole different video if you guys want to become channel members. But yeah, so the price of Palantir going down, and I never bet against my team. I don't really want the price of Palantir to go down. I only want it to go up. But honestly, sub 10 is when I'm going to start looking at it to nibble. I'm not buying before that because I have a lot of shares of Palantir, and I don't want or need to add, but I wasn't planning to add at all. But now that I'm really digging more into Peter Thiel, his life, his investment strategy, his theory, his thoughts, really, I was digging in a lot more. I'm like, wow, this is the company. Okay, this is the company. Now, one more thing. My man Andres posted a quick clip on Snowflake's earnings. Somebody asked him, hey, when investment into AI? They said in 2024. And then they made a whole shtick of, oh, people are not ready for AI anyways. They're just buying these GPUs. They got to set up the infrastructure. Remember, Snowflake partnered with NVIDIA like 3 or 4 months ago. And they bought a company 3 or 4 months ago that's supposed to do large language models. And they were like, AI. Guys, look, they're not going to be ready for AI for probably another year from now. Palantir spoke about AI and delivered AI, not minimum viable product, but a kick-ass product that they keep upgrading because they're about to have Palantir AI Pecan Artificial Intelligence Platform Con 2 September 14th. While most companies talk about it, Palantir has been doing this for years. You don't believe me? Listen to Peter Thiel talk 10 years ago, and he was talking about artificial intelligence. 10 years ago. Forget about Alex Karp talking. Listen to Peter Thiel talk about for a moment. Palantir was in this space for over 2 decades now. For over a decade, for sure, they've been doing crazy artificial intelligence, machine learning at the higher level. And they were developing for the military that now is being used for commercial use cases. Guys, I'm super bullish about Palantir. That's on everything. And it's not a joke. I'm not like bullshitting you guys or hyping you guys up or G'ing you guys up. I'm very bullish on Palantir, specifically where it's coming from Peter Thiel. Now, not all his companies pan out, but I don't know if he has a company that he actually co-founded that did not pan out. And I would argue that Palantir is panning out right now. So for all those people waiting for that 30-35% growth, wait. We're going to not only take over a market like Alex Karp says, but we're making the market, like Peter Thiel says. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.